Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Welcome to another viewers requested videos, and in actual fact this is an experiment. You're being experimented on. You can try and work out how and when and why if you like, but at the end of the day Big Box Orchid Channel name has requested some information on Dendrobium spectabile, which I have. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be doing it. This was a gift from Zaina, and as we go into the culture and etc. for this particular plant, you'll see why it doesn't do and is never going to do very well for me. This is it. As far as growths are concerned, we do have a new growth pushing up here. We have another rather weak one here, and at the base another one here, so we do have some new growth activity on it. Now this comes from New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, that area, and has been recorded, whether true or not I can't verify, in northeastern Australia. It grows mainly as an epiphyte but can be found growing on rocks, and it tends to be found in swampy evergreen forests. And there's a conundrum here. Evergreen forests, yeah, well, unless you're sat on the top of the tree, that sounds like a sort of shady thing to me. Swampy forests, yeah, a bit sort of heavy, this, that and the other. This needs Vanda light to bloom well. I'm not sure it gets that in those forests, but it will grow very well in shady areas. It just may never bloom, or rarely bloom, or not bloom well. So it's a warm to hot grower that needs a good Vanda type light to bloom reasonably well. So you can see why it's not going to do very well here. So yeah, it's some categorise this as a Latoria type, others disagree. It has many traits of Latorias and does come from similar areas. It is possible that that nubbin there may actually bloom. This has bloomed for me, put a picture up, and the blooms are, well, it's all in the name, you know, they are spectacular, spectabile, and fragrant. So if you've got the right conditions and you can get hold of it, this would be a good one to grow. But they can grow in the right conditions into a monster, yeah? In a bucket sort of jobby, you know, so they can grow very large. Mine never will, okay? So there we go, summing up, warm to hot grower, needs Vanda type light at least to bloom well, and also needs a dryish winter rest depending on temperatures. If you've got the warm to hot conditions, this needs a bit of a reduction in water and feed, but shouldn't dry out for any length of time. However, if you haven't got that heat and you've got short days, then this needs to stay quite dry or the roots will rot. It's geared up to the environment you're growing in, how you treat it as far as a winter rest is concerned. Mine gets very little water. Mine is also going to get a repot. It's been in that pot a while now, and I believe this media is too compacted. I think this needs a more open media, yeah? So there we go, a spotlight on Dendrobium spectabile. And now the bit on the end is a big bit. It's like another video, but I couldn't be bothered to do two. So on the end of this video, which is a viewers requested video, is me talking about and using some seaweed extract. So you can have my views and me actually using some and a chat about the fors and against, the pros and the cons, all that sort of stuff. If you're not interested in that sort of stuff, then this is the end of the video. If you are, there's more. See you next time. It's pot watering day today. So just for Carol, guess what that brown stuff is? I decided to stick. I've got seaweed extract. It's been sat on the shelf a long time, and every now and again I just pop some in for no other reason than the fact I've got it. The active units in there, things like auxins and stuff like that, are probably long since inactivated and are no longer functioning. That only sort of works for a relatively short period. Nonetheless, there is some stuff in seaweed extract that is useful to plants, and although I have no plans on using it on a regular basis, if I was going to do that, I would probably get something a bit fresher, you know, definitely organic, cold pressed. You know, I've looked into it. There's some good stuff going on, but it's not a miracle cure by any means. But I've decided that in today's watering we will have some seaweed extract. I'm just working out what it's done. It took me long enough to work out. First of all, you sort of think, well, the dosages on the things are for use in the garden. Well, everywhere you read anything about using fertilizers for the garden on orchids, it's either half or quarter strength. So I thought, well, we'll err on the side of caution. So we had calculations to do. For mature plants, it was 45 ml for 9 litres. Well, there's about 5 litres in there. It's not an exact thing, because I use the milk containers, which are 2 point some or other litres, I forget which, 4 pints in old money. And so I took that down to, let's say, 40, and then divide that by 2 because there was only 5 litres. So I thought, well, 20 mil for 5 litres would be full strength, so we'll take it down to 10. And then I thought, actually, we'll take it down lower than that. And I used my little pipette thing that I use for my pH up, which I may well need now. Yeah, so there's about 6 or 7 mil of seaweed extract in 5 litres of water, on top of the 140 parts per million MSU. Now, don't forget, I'm watering pots in short day lengths and cold temperatures. They do not need a lot of food. The cooler, shadier set, which includes the Odonts, Masdevallias, they're not getting watered today. They're not getting any feed at all, so they're not getting touched. It's just the ordinary pots, everything else, and the holy clay pots, of which there are now only 3, I think. 2 or 3, not many anyway. Yeah, so that's what's getting watered, and that's what's got added. So, yeah, I'll give it a go, but like I say, I don't expect to see any changes in the orchids whatsoever. And regular use, I've read in many instances, is probably not a good idea, because applying the type of active ingredients that are in this stuff at the wrong time in a plant's growth cycle can actually do harm rather than good. It can actually mess up flower spikes and things like that. So as a root stimulant, it's probably a good idea. So when that's all you're trying to do is to get a plant to come back into growth as a form of like an element to help rescue a plant, that's where it probably does the most good. Because there's elements within it that de-stress plants. They produce things that help the plant ease it through, say, a repot or a change of environment, or worse still, both. Yeah, so it has some uses. At the moment, you know, I'm just going to give it a go, and I may well give it a go as I start to change the lighting and increase the day lengths and the temperatures and everything to reintroduce growth to the plant room. That might be a good time to use it, but we shall wait and see. I've used stuff like this, I've used Super Thrive, I've used stuff like this in the past, and I have not seen a blind bit of difference anywhere or anywhen. But I can also safely say that in moderation, I don't think it does any harm. So that's what's happening today anyway.